I'm not sure if that worked, but you may or may not have just seen a countdown.
No, I saw it.
I hope you did. Anyway, so I am here again on a Wednesday, joined by Pratham. Thank you for coming. I meant to ask you backstage if it is pronounced Pratham. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
It is. Good. And Tom tells me it worked. So that's a double whammy of success. So I'm sure you all know Pratham already, but in case not, he is a developer advocate and a big fan of CSS and a huge Twitter tech person with 115.7k followers. Amazing. Sharing brilliant tips about web development, CSS, and all kinds of other things, which we will get onto shortly. So thank you so much for coming today, Pratham. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah.
It's an honor for me to be here. Yes, thanks for inviting me. I'm super excited about this live stream.
Yeah, as am I. I'm sure there will be plenty of questions you have for Pratham. Just drop them in the chat and I will try to ask as many as possible. But first, we always get started on Scrimba live streams with a little emoji survey, which is this. If you're new here, please put a rabbit in the chat. And if you've been before, please put a tiger. And we'll see how many rabbits and tigers we have. Yeah, brilliant. So while they're doing that, I'll start with the questions, if that's okay with you, Pratham.
For sure, yes, we can start.
Yeah, I will start talking about my favorite topic, CSS. And that is, so you share a lot of amazing tips and hidden features, I would say, about CSS on your Twitter. How did you learn all of this in the first place?
Okay, so I'm a self-taught web developer, so I learned all this by my own using YouTube videos, Udemy courses, some random articles on different blogging platforms, and I love reading documentation first of all. So MDN is my favorite platform. So I learned all the CSS, JavaScript, and other web technologies from MDN.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the documentation there is really pretty good. And talking about the tips, like as I mentioned that I love reading documentation. So I usually come across with lots of tips and tricks there, new things basically, which I then converted them into tips and simply posted them on different social media platforms, including Twitter. So that's how I came across with the latest tips and tricks. Also, not just from MDN, but some random YouTube videos, some blogging, some articles helped me to find those awesome tips and tricks of CSS, not just CSS, but for React, JavaScript, and HTML as well.
Wow. Yes. Seriously cool. And how long have you been interested in this field?
I started web development in 2019.
Okay.
When I was a college student, I was pursuing my computer science degree. So there was a subject in my college, C language. So that's how I started programming. From the C language, then I learned Java. And after learning Java, I started my career in the field of web development. I started with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. So yes, it's been like 2 years, and I've been learning all this stuff. The web development is so deep, so there is always a lot to learn. So I'm currently improving and learning all these things.
Wow, yeah, amazing that you get all these tips from reading documentation. Yeah, lots of rabbits and tigers in the chat. Welcome, rabbits, and welcome back to tigers. Whoa, another CSS fan, says Michael. That's 3. So me, Pratham, and Kevin Powell, I guess. Yes. Michael hates it. He is wrong on that one because everyone should love CSS. Yes. So brilliant. Tell us, please, about your CSS cheat sheets, which I will now share on the screen when I find the link. So this is something you've released fairly recently, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think I released this in the May end. I released the cheat sheet in the May end. I just simply collected all my handwritten CSS notes. I compiled them into a PDF and simply post that PDF onto Gumroad platform. It's very cheap, I guess, just for $1.
Yeah.
It contained 20 plus CSS cheat sheets, I guess. So the idea started when, like, one day I was making some random CSS notes on a white A4 size sheet. Then I posted that particular image on Twitter, and that tweet got over 1K or 2K likes, I guess. So that's how this all began. Then I created more cheat sheets, more notes on CSS and JavaScript, and one day I simply compiled them. I simply took the images of all the notes I made and I compiled them into PDF and I posted them onto Gumroad. And
Yeah. Seriously
the
cool.
yes, and the revenue I gained from this cheat sheet is really awesome. So that was
Really?
totally unexpected for me. Yes.
Wow. Yeah. So here's a sneak peek of what they look like. Lovely handwritten notes. So if you struggle with CSS, who doesn't? Why not consider having a look at these cheat sheets? Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Looking forward to having a look at those. Ooh. So Clayton asks in the chat, any specific documentation you can recommend? So you mentioned a few, mostly MDN. Any others we need to know about?
Yeah, W3 schools is also good, but I prefer MDN because they are very well written. I'm not biased here, but MDN is my personal choice. You can also look at W3 schools and other stuff if you wish. Like, it's totally depends on you. But I prefer MDN personally.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of W3 schools as well. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question. A lot of people, as we've mentioned already, hate CSS. Why do you think that is? And how can they make it more bearable?
Interesting question. This is interesting question, I must say. I'm not sure most people hate CSS or not, but I guess it's just a matter of practice because I love CSS, so I do a lot of CSS. I make code pens. I made a lot of CSS arts on CodePen and Code Sandbox. So it's just a matter of interest that what you love to do. In my free time, I love making CSS arts and I love making Twitter headers using CSS. So this is how one can improve if they want to improve their CSS skills. And like, it's the trickiest, I guess it's the most trickiest module of web development. CSS is the most trickiest module. So like, there are a lot of properties and value which one need to remember in order to create a beautiful web pages and websites. So it's just a matter of practice and interest that one can improve their CSS skills. So yes, that's how we can make it more bearable.
Yeah, good tip. I like the idea of doing art as well. Yeah, have a bit of fun with it. Yeah. Rafi says, that's a lot to learn so quickly. Definitely. Yeah, great job.
Thanks.
Asking in the chat, says Rafi, if you don't enjoy CSS, why? That is a good question. Yeah. So, next question I have for you, Pratham, is what is your favorite CSS feature?
I love the entire CSS concept. So I don't have any favorite CSS feature, but if I choose a particular one, I think the 3D transformation thing is very cool in CSS. We can create 3D elements using CSS. That's a super cool thing that adds a beautiful look in our websites and web pages. So the perspective properties and all the transform properties and values are a great CSS feature for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Totally love them. I love CSS, says Triple V. Well, that makes 4 of us. Brilliant. Yeah. Mr. Goat, can you give me some tips on how to become pro in web development?
I think practice is the first thing anyone can do to improve their not only the web development skills, but to improve any other skills as well. So practice is the key to all the things. The second thing is web development is all about coding. So you need to build projects. You need to explore more. So if you build many projects, then you can for sure increase your web development skills. So building a lot of projects can help you to improve your coding skills and web development skills. I did around 30 or 35 personal projects, and that's why my web development skills is so good.
What kind of projects did you do?
It's all like personal projects. I do some like real-time chat application in React, some COVID trackers and stuff. Not big projects, but small projects, super minimal, and that can help me to improve my skills.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they're a bit afraid to do projects because they think they need to be big. But actually, you can do smaller ones, and they're just as effective. Yeah, lovely. Vamshi asks, which JS framework will be good to learn for future web development?
I guess I love React, but you can learn anything you want. You can explore Angular Vue as well if you want. And current famous is Servlet, I guess. So you can explore any framework you want. But my personal choice is React. So it depends on you, what you love to explore. But I guess Vue, React, and Angular are the three most famous JavaScript frameworks nowadays.
Yeah. And what you could do, Vamshi, is look in at the job ads in your area and see which one is the most popular one. But really, I think whichever one you learn, it almost doesn't matter because it will make it a lot easier to learn another one if you ever needed to. The important thing is to make sure you know your JS first, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult. Yeah.
Yes, the fundamental is very important. Anyone has to improve their fundamentals if they want to move on to some kind of frameworks and libraries.
Yeah, same with CSS. Absolutely. Yeah. Lovely. Interesting question from Martin. What are some challenges you faced while you were starting out with web dev, and how did you overcome them?
To be honest, I faced some challenges when I started with programming, not when I started with web development. So when I started with programming back in 2017, when I had C programming subject in my college, I struggled a lot because I didn't have any programming experience at all. In my school, there was no programming subjects in my curriculum. But when I got C programming in my first year of college, I struggled a lot with the concepts of programming and how to write code. One day I was sitting in a lab and my professor came in and they simply assigned me a task that, hey, Pratham, you need to write a code that's sum of two integers. So it was so difficult for me to manage out to figuring out how I can how can I write a code. I was not aware of what integers are at that point of time. So it's so difficult for me when I started out with the programming. But later on, I learned Java, I learned C, then C++, then Java. So it's kind of simple for me to starting with web development because I was aware of the programming concepts, that what for loop is, what if loop is. So these type of basic programming concepts. So that's why when I was starting with web development, it was easier for me because I have some kind of programming knowledge with Java and C languages.
Yeah, that makes sense. How did you get over this hurdle of when you started programming, it was very difficult for you?
Yes, like when I started programming, it was difficult. So what I did, I just simply start exploring more about programming by my own. I also took a course outside my college. It was of core Java programming. So that's how I learned all this stuff by learning self learning. Yes.
Yeah. Lovely tips. Ayush asks, any thoughts on Angular?
I never tried it, to be honest, because I'm a React fan, but it's popular. It's so much popular, I can say. And the community of Angular.js is so big. The ecosystem is so big. So you can try Angular.js as well.
Yeah. And Gorilla says, Svelte is cool too. Svelte is cool. Yeah. But I'm not sure how popular it is, but it's nice to learn anyway. Yeah, I like it. What about this? Suraj, thoughts on Three.js? I have never used Three.js. I don't know if you have.
Same here. I have never used Three.js, but it's popular.
Yeah. I mean to look into it, but I haven't done it yet. If you have used Three.js, let us know what you thought in the chat, or Angular. Yeah. Interesting question from Mr. Goat. I'm weak in math. Can I become and get a job as a full stack web developer?
To be honest, I'm also weak in math.
Oh.
So I don't think so. Math will, yes. So I don't think so. Your math skills will make a huge difference if you want to become a full stack web developer. It's just, uh, yeah. So anyone can pursue their career into the field of web development if they want. And I don't think so. Math will make a huge difference. But if you want to pursue your career in the field of machine learning and artificial intelligence, I guess maths and statistics can make a little difference there. So you need to be, I think, good in math. I'm not sure because I'm not an ML expert here. So I think a little bit of maths and statistics knowledge can help you to improve your ML and AI skills. But if you want to become a web developer, then I guess maths won't make any difference.
Yeah. Good news for me as well. My maths is not brilliant. So, yes, good news all around, Mr. Goat. Yes. Hayden asks, any advice for junior developers trying to land their first job? So, you have recently started a new job, Pratham. I saw you celebrated 45 days a few days ago.
Yes.
Before we get on to Hayden's question, do you want to tell us a little bit about your job?
Yeah, for sure. So like around 2 months ago, I joined Rapid API as a developer advocate. So developer advocate is a trickiest post, I must say. It is a little bit difficult than a core development job because as a developer advocate, you need to code and you need to communicate with the community as well. It's all about building a bridge between engineering team and the outer communities, and it's all about collecting the feedback of the communities out there to improve their internal products. So I can say it's the mixture of three things. Developer advocacy is the mixture of three things. The first one is code, the second one is community, and the third one is content. So that's why developer advocate and all the similar kind of post in the developer relations field is trickiest because you need to manage all this kind of stuff together.
Yeah, and very popular at the
yes,
moment.
and talking about this particular question, I guess I'm also a junior developer. So how I managed to land my first job, let me share here something. So first of all, you just need to be proactive into the community so that more developers and more companies can see what you do, what your skills. So that's how I got my first job because I'm super active in the web development community on Twitter. You can also try creating some content, some kind of small code snippets and some projects as well, so that more people can notice you, more people can reach out to you for a job. And yes, networking is good point here. The networking is a most important thing in my opinion if you want to land into a decent company and a decent job, because that's how you can tell the other people that hey, I am Pratham and I am good at web development, please hire me. So networking is the key concept.
Yeah, excellent tip. We always say on Scrimba, start building an online presence for yourself as soon as you can. So yeah, blog or YouTube channel or Twitter, anything like that, just to show off your knowledge and yeah, get to know people, get talking to people as well. So
Yes,
that is,
definitely.
yeah.
I don't think so. Social media platform won't make a difference because if you love Twitter, you can start building online presence on Twitter. If you love Instagram, you can start with the Instagram. You can start with the blogging platform like Hashnode, Dev.to, Medium, and YouTube channels. The point is you need to make a huge online presence. So just start it out with any of the platform. Platform doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as someone can Google your name plus developer and then they find your content, that's all that matters. Yeah. So great to hear about your new junior developer advocate job. Can you tell us a bit about the skills you needed to get this job and how did you train yourself up?
Talking about the skill set, so as I mentioned, that developer advocate requires three main skills like code, community, and content. You first need to know how to interact with the communities, how to make a strong connection with the outer communities. The second most important thing is definitely coding. So you need to be good at coding as well if you want to become a web developer or web developer relations engineer, stuff like this. And these are some skill set, and I think you also need to be good at creating content as well into the similar fields. For example, I joined Rapid API, so the content I create revolves around the APIs and web development, basically all the web development modules. So these are the three basic skills that you need if you want to become a web developer.
Ah, and is this the only type of job you applied for, developer advocacy, or did you apply for lots of different types, or what attracted you to it, if so?
Like, I love interacting with the communities, as I mentioned. So the jobs I was looking for is like for any of developer advocate role, or maybe a community manager, or maybe a content creator. So these three things I looked for.
Ah, perfect. And how did you tackle your job search? Was it just talking in the community, or did you have some other tips?
Okay, so to be honest, if you have a strong online presence, you never need to be searched for a good job because companies will contact you automatically.
Mm-hmm. Is
So
that
I
what
never,
happened to you?
yes. So like I have a strong online presence. So to be honest, the internships, the freelancing projects, the job I did in the past, all the companies reached out to me on Twitter because I have a strong online presence there.
Perfect. Yeah. Another reason to get started on your online presence today. Yeah. A few more questions from the chat. Gerald asks, is there a big difference between React and Vue?
I never tried Vue, but I love React. So I can say that the ecosystem and then the community of React is so big as compared to Vue, in my opinion. But talking about the Vue, I have never tried it, so I can't say anything about Vue here.
I looked at it quite a long time ago, and it didn't seem that different. I think if you know one, it will be quite easy to learn another one. That's my experience. Yeah. Annie Root asks, how to master in CSS? Can I use a framework? I think the question really is, should I use a framework? Yeah. What do you think of frameworks, Pratham? Do you use frameworks?
Framework simply saves you a lot of time. So you can use frameworks, but again, I really wanted to tell that first you need to improve your fundamentals. First, you need to improve your basic skills, and then you can jump onto the framework. Because if you start using frameworks before making your fundamentals strong, then it might trouble you in the future because some concepts are so trickiest and you ended up not understanding what exactly a framework can do if your fundamentals and basics is not strong. So that's why I guess starting with the basic CSS and then move on to some trickiest and some advanced concept, and then started using some kind of frameworks like Bootstrap and Tailwind.
I think that's really good advice, because if you start with one of the frameworks, that's great while you're using it. But what if you then move companies or get a new job and you have to use a different framework or no framework? You're going to have a problem. Exactly. So yeah, definitely get the CSS basics down first. That's also what Kevin Powell said. Triple V is here. Oh, he's been traveling from Phoenix to Vegas. Amazing. And that was 1,366 miles. Wow. I was a bit of a detour. Oh, see what I did there. But anyway, yes. Hello, Triple V. Denny asks, or says, I think you should research whatever target market you want to work in and determine which framework or tech you should focus on. Yeah, that's very true. If you decide you want to work for a particular company and you happen to know that they only use Tailwind, then it makes sense to focus on that. I guess you'd still need the basics. Yeah. Ooh. Question for Pratham. Is there anything you encountered in your web dev journey and decided to skip instead of relying on others to fill in the gaps in your projects? So for example, you wanted to add something to your project, you weren't sure how to do it, so you just left it out instead of asking someone else to do it, I think.
I think programming is all about struggling with the concepts. So I always try to cover some trickiest concept and the concepts that confuses me, and I generally try to spend more time on such type of concepts and then try to master them, because like if you skip some kind of concepts in your journey or in your learning process, then you will become a habitual of doing this. So I don't recommend to skip concepts. You should take a break if something burns you out, but don't try to skip concepts.
That is a good tip. And I think when you have these problems in your projects, finding out how to solve them is a great way to learn. Yeah.
Exactly.
Lacho says, which CSS frameworks are most famous and useful? Well, as far as I know, Bootstrap and Tailwind. And there are some others.
Yes, these two.
Yeah, those are the main ones.
Bootstrap is quite famous, yes.
Yeah. Lovely. Good. Will for Coding asks, what is your most successful project on your website? And what are the challenges? Is it marketing or building it or finding the needs?
Okay, so I don't think so. In my personal projects, there is some scope of marketing, because the projects I did just for the learning perspective, I never tried to sell them to someone others. So I don't think so. Marketing is the concepts I can tackle here. But the thing is, like most successful project, talking about most successful, I think all the projects I did, I complete them and I push the code onto the GitHub. So all the projects is complete. And the other thing, the challenge is the good question here, because every time I build some new project or do some new kind of stuff, and anyone can face some kind of challenges, and the trickiest part is to overcome them, and that's how you can improve your skills and your skill set. So try to look around the solutions of the challenges you are facing. So that's how I did. For example, if I'm struggling with a particular concept in JavaScript, what I do, first of all, I simply take a short break so that I can get fresh. And then I come back and I explore more on internet that how can I overcome these challenges or a particular problem. So that's how I overcome challenges.
Yeah, good tip, which is related to this question from Debjit. How do you overcome your fear of the unknown, if you have any fear?
I don't think so. I have any fear. So fear of unknown. So I guess I'm not sure how to answer this question, to be honest.
I think when I have a fear of the unknown, the only real way to get around it is to just do that thing. So yeah, if public speaking or dealing with spiders or whatever else, the only way it will get easier is if you try. So yes, that's my advice to you. Debjit, yes? Interesting question from Gorilla. I want to apply as a web dev. I want to set up a site with some projects. What do you think? I think it sounds good. What projects should it include? And is a framework project a must? Or is HTML, CSS, and JS enough?
I guess the HTML, CSS, and JS is enough for freelancing type of job. But if you want to apply in a big company, like for example, Google and Microsoft, then you need to, then obviously HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is not enough. You must need to know some kind of frameworks as well if you want to apply in a big company. But again, if you want to do some personal type of job, for example, freelancing and freelancing content creation, then I guess HTML, CSS, JS is enough.
Yeah, maybe even just HTML and CSS. I mean, you can make a website for a bakery with that. So, start with what you know and then build it up.
Sometimes HTML and CSS are enough because you can create a beautiful web pages and websites using these two technologies only. So sometimes JavaScript is not you only, just HTML and CSS can make the job done for you.
Yeah, totally. Mr. Goat says, if someone is in second year of college, can he or she get a job? Or is it compulsory to have a degree to get a job? Yeah.
It's not compulsory to have a degree to get a job. Because when I joined Rapid API, I was not graduated. I just graduated few days back and I joined Rapid API 2 months ago. So you don't need a degree. Yes, the only thing matters is your skills, your expertise to get a good job, not the degree.
Great to hear. And if you want to improve your skills, check out Scrimba. Nice plug.
Definitely.
Yes, here it is. And here we are. We have plenty of courses you can go and have a look at. Here they all are, including CSS. Fabulous. Well, that's good to hear. And congratulations on graduating. Yeah.
Thank you.
Valuable tip. Thank you, says Rafi. Yeah. Lacho asks, what are the most important topics in CSS? So for a project or a website.
I guess the box model concept of CSS is the most important because the entire thing on website is rely on boxes. So you first need to learn the all things about box model. For example, like margin, padding, borders, content, colors, backgrounds, and stuff like this. I guess background and color is not included in the box model. But if you want to improve your CSS skills and your web designing skills, you need to understand what box model is in the details, because that's how all the websites and yes, all the websites work. Like if you're, for example, you're seeing that subscribe button, it's all box.
Yeah. So get
And
the
make
box.
sure to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, totally. Lovely. So now you have told us a little bit about your job searching or not searching in the end experience. So you mentioned that basically they approached you for the job. What was your interview process like? Did you actually have an interview?
Yes, I did have. I had 3 interviews round.
Oh wow.
The all interviews went super great, and that's why I joined Rapid API. All the panelists were so interactive, and that's what I love when I interviewing, because like interaction is the most important thing if you are interviewing someone. So my interviews process, it was 3 interviews. The first one is, I think it is the what can I say? I'm not sure. It's a managerial, I guess. And the second one is behavioral interview, that they were checking that am I able to fit into the company or not. So nothing much technical. All the interviews are super easy for me because my job is related to community and community content. So they were asking questions for related to this kind of stuff only.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you have any tips for what people on the technical side should brush up on for an interview in web development?
Yes, the first important thing is your CV and resume, of course. You need to be
Yeah.
updated your CV and resume before applying to any job. Try to add more projects there. Try to add as many projects as you can, because that's the first thing any recruiter might any recruiter want to check, that what kind of project you did in the past, what was your work experience. Like always try to follow the star pattern of whenever you're writing resume or CV. The star pattern, the idea is the star full form. Star is the acronym for strategy, task, action, and results, I guess. Try to add your work experience in the star format. So yes, I guess the CV and resume is the first and foremost thing. And then try to improve some basic coding concepts, so that if you are going to have some kind of technical interview, you can overcome them easily.
Yeah. Wonderful tip there, to have your projects on your CV, and also skills, I would say. Some people like to put those the symbols for each technology on their CV. Maybe do that, or just make it clear what you can do.
Also, one point I want to add here, that never add that percentage bar on your CV. For example, 90% HTML, 80% CSS. That's useless in my opinion.
Yes, I have heard that before. Why do you think it's useless? I agree.
Because because yes, for example, I am 90% CSS expert. So how can I measure this 90%? So web development is a vast field. Even the whole programming is the vast field. So you can never measure such kind of things in these kind of fields. So that's why adding percentage bar in your resume and CV is useless in my opinion.
I think so too. And if you have some at 90%, I mean, okay, that's good, even though, as you say, you can't really measure it. But if you have some which are 50%, obviously that means you don't know half of GitHub or whatever it is. So it doesn't look good. So avoid those progress bar things. That is a very good tip. Nice question here from Joseph. What is your role and your tech stack at Rapid API?
Okay, my role is obviously developer advocate, and the tech stack is like for example, I need to create some kind of demos there. some kind of demo projects there. So the tech stack is related to React, Next.js, and simple JavaScript and CSS. So these are the tech stack I'm currently working on. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. And so I think you already knew React beforehand. Did you know Next as well, or was there anything you had to learn on the job?
I knew React before joining Rapid API a little bit, but now I'm improving my Next.js skills because I need to work there a lot on Next.js.
Yeah, cool. Mr. Goat, I know WordPress. Should I continue to learn it or switch to web development? Which gives better for future?
I can say web development, but I have never tried WordPress to be honest, but it's a good technology. So I guess you should try switching to web development. Once you start learning web development, you will definitely enjoy the process. So because there is a lot to learn in the field of web development. For example, start with HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript, APIs, backend, databases. So learning web development is a fun process and you will enjoy it for sure. So start with it right now. That's my tip.
Yeah, just give it a go. See
And
if
of
you
course,
like it.
web development is better for future. There is a lot opportunities in this field. You will definitely find a good job as well if you start with it.
Yeah, great stuff. Brian says, most jobs in the market are asking for React right now. My current employer is requiring us to use Angular. Do you think I should worry about not getting React experience?
Like it depends. Again, it depends like what are the company requirements. So I guess both React and Angular is good. So if you love React, continue with the React. But if you love Angular, continue with the Angular. I can say don't switch. But if you want to explore more, then you should definitely try to switch around onto the frameworks and technologies. But if you are okay with React, then I can say just start continuing React. Don't need to try any other framework if you're liking it.
Yeah, and I think if your employer is requiring you to use Angular, it probably wouldn't hurt to do some React outside of work. Maybe build some projects or something just so you have an idea about it. And I think that should be enough. Yeah. Marcelo, what tips would you advise for introverts when sharing content on social media? That's a good question.
I'm also an introvert, to be honest, and social media is my best friend. So you can share, obviously you can share content, not only the content, but some kind of stuff with your personal life, related to your personal life as well, because that's what most introverts do. Social medias are their favorite platforms, their best friend. So I also, whenever I want to share something related to my personal life, I simply put a tweet out or simply put a blog out related to my personal life. That's what I manage my introvert nature.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Rafi says, it's shocking how much of the web is built on WordPress. Yeah, absolutely. So going back to your job, this is a similar question to what I was going to ask. What does dev advocacy look like at your company?
Well, I guess the dev advocacy looks like same in all the companies. As I mentioned, that it's all about the code, content, and community. It's all about interacting with the other developers and try to collect their feedbacks so that you can improve your internal products. It's all about making a bridge between engineering team and the outer communities so that you can improve your products and you can increase the reach of your products to the other developers. So I guess the dev advocacy work look like the same in all the companies. It's not depend on the Rapid API and other company. Yep.
Yeah. And what's the ratio of developing versus advocacy? Or does it change from week to week?
I guess it's keep changing according to the requirements. Like if you are interacting with the communities, that you are doing advocacy 100%. But if you are creating some kind of projects and demos, then you are coding all the week long. So it depends on the requirement. But I guess 60% advocacy and 40% development. Not sure, I'm new, so I don't think so I can answer this properly right now. Maybe after a year or two, I can answer this more accurately.
Yeah, perfect. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're working remotely, is that right?
Yes, I'm a remote employee.
Mm. How's that been for you so far?
Okay, so I guess the remote job is tough, to be honest. In these past 2 months, I'm working a lot, like a 10 to 12 hours per day.
Oh, wow.
I'm not even getting my personal time to create my to create content for my personal account. I'm very inactive nowadays on Twitter as well because I'm doing is doing my job, and it's like 10 to 12 hours per day.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
Definitely, because I just joined, so that's why I'm getting used to all kind of stuff. But once I settle in the company, then definitely it will reduce.
Yeah, sounds good. You mentioned just now your Twitter. Here it is. And yeah, want to talk a little bit about your Twitter because you have grown an audience of a whopping 115.7k followers, which is amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I have a sound I play. Here we go. Yes. What inspired you to start a Twitter account in the first place?
Okay, interesting question. I guess COVID inspired me to start my Twitter account because in lockdown one day I was just getting bored sitting onto my room, nothing. I have nothing to do, so I just posted out a random tweet. It was just a random tweet, and then I start interacting with the other developers on Twitter, and this was all the magic begins. And then I start creating fully fledged threads on Twitter, and people start joining me. So it was a totally unexpected for me. And
Mm,
once I gained like 1,000 followers, I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then I started creating more and more content, and I started interacting with the other developers out there. So that's how it's all began.
interesting. So my next question was it your aim to create a huge following when you started out? It sounds like not really. Is that right?
Yes, definitely, no aim. It, as I mentioned, that is totally unexpected for me. So yes, like building 100K audience in 12 months is a big deal in my opinion, because I guess no account on Twitter or any other social media platform do this. But yes, like if you are good at something, just try it out. Like I think I'm good in content creation and interacting with the other developers. So I write content, I post it on Twitter and other social media platform, and this is how it works.
Perfect. Yeah. Rafi says, "Happy belated birthday, Pratham." Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, because it says here, Ray's birthday is August the 14th. So absolutely agree. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. Back
Thank
to
you.
Twitter. So how have you managed to create such a huge audience in such a short time?
Well, like it's all about creating content and interacting with the other developers. Like it's not actually all about creating content, but it's all about connecting with the other developer emotionally, and basically try to solve their doubts, try to interact with all the replies that you are getting on your tweets and threads, and try to reply them back with, and try to solve their doubts and skepticism. That's how you interact with the communities. And once you start creating content, and once people start liking content, you will definitely grow, and you can build 200K in 12 months, who knows.
Wow. So when you say resolving their doubts, is that technical doubts or something else?
Definitely, if you are getting replies on the content you are creating, then it's a technical doubt. For example, I once I got a reply on my box model thread that what's the difference between padding and margin, and I simply solved their doubt by creating a cheat sheet. So that's how you interact, and that's how you solve others' doubts.
Ah, lovely. Yeah. So someone actually asked that earlier.
Oh,
What's the difference between padding and margin? So head over to Pratham's Twitter. Although Stephen Henry has given a nice answer here. So yes, thank you for that. Yeah, that is amazing. Pratham's done some amazing things. Congratulations on your success, says Mike at
thanks,
HTML
Mike.
All Things.
HTML for thing. Huge shout out for Mike because he sent me this sticker,
Oh,
HTML
look
all
at
thing.
that.
It's a good sticker. Yes.
Perfect. That is excellent. And I believe I'm just checking my dates are correct. Yes, Mike is going to be here next week on the live stream.
Awesome.
So, looking
I will
forward.
join you guys for sure.
Great. Yeah, looking forward to having you both here and hopefully everyone from the chat. So that was a question from Mr. Goat. How do you create content? Yeah, have you got some content creation tips?
Well, I don't like, if you want to create content in on the technologies in which you are good at. For example, I'm good at CSS, so I always try to create content that revolves around CSS, web development, and web designing. And yes, the main content I create revolves around the web technologies, including HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, and other small web technologies modules. So if you want to create content, make sure to create content on the technologies in which you are good.
Great tip. Don't try to make content on stuff you don't know about. Plenty of people do. Yeah. Oh, Deepak14 says, I think it's as an introvert, in an interview or having an actual conversation with another dev is terrifying. I understand this completely. And the only way I became comfortable with interviews or live streaming is just doing it. I just went to lots of interviews.
That's the best way to improve. Yes. That's the best way to overcome of your fears. Just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, Socrates says, I started Twitter because of him. Great news. Yeah. Mike says, yeah. Ooh, Leanne, can you please drop Pratham's CSS PDF link? Yes, I definitely can. I thought I'd already done that, but I don't think I did. So here it is. Pratham's...
Someone dropped the link in the chat, I guess.
Oh, good. Yes, here you go. Thank you, Michael. Here are Pratham's CSS cheat sheets. And another thing that Pratham has made is this, which is your ebook. Would you like to tell us about this, Pratham?
Yes, in this ebook, I shared all the tips and tricks related to Twitter, that how I managed to build 100K audience in 12 months. It's all about cracking Twitter algorithm and interacting and creating content. All the tips you need in order to grow on Twitter, you will find in this ebook.
Perfect. I'll also share the link to this here, so you can check it out if you want to grow your Scrimba, not Scrimba, Twitter account. The tagline of this ebook is, anyone can do this. Can anyone really do this, Pratham?
Yes, anyone can do this for sure. It's as I mentioned, that it's all about interacting with the other developers and creating content, creating a good content. I must say, like, as I mentioned, that try to create content on the technologies in which you are good at. Try to find what other developers need, what the community needs from you, what they want you to write. Try to write on them. And this is the simple tips that you can grow on Twitter. Just interact and create content, nothing else.
Lovely. Yeah. Tyrone C asks, how much of algorithms and data structures do you think one should know? And any tips?
Like, algorithm and data structure is the two most important concepts in the interview point of view, if you are going to attend some kind of technical interview. So these two are the most important things. And talking about the actual technical job, I'm not sure that you will ever going to use hard-coded algorithm and data structures in your actual job, but definitely they are most important in the interviews point of view. Especially in India, I'm not sure about the other countries, but they are very important in India.
Yeah.
If you are Indian, then you will understand this.
Yeah. I'm not sure either about other areas. If you have some experience of this, let us know in the chat. Michael, maybe you can let us know if you have ever had to use algorithms or data structures. And if you have any tips. Yes. Mr. Goat says, thanks, Pratham. Because of you, I started taking social media seriously, especially Twitter. I hope I will get success. Yeah. Good stuff.
All the best, Mr. God.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I would like to know what you wish you knew at the start of your Twitter journey.
Interesting question. I don't have any such wishes, to be honest,
No.
because my Twitter is going super great. And when I started Twitter, as I mentioned, that it was totally unexpected for me, but now it's going really, really great. So if you are starting out on Twitter, I must say just try to create one thread or one tweet per day. And then once you start going on Twitter, try to increase the pace, try to increase the frequency of your number of tweets you are posting on Twitter.
Is there an amount that's too much, or is it the more the better?
I think one tweet per day is more than enough in the starting phase. And then once you cross 10K or 20K, then I guess 3 or 4 tweets per day, and try to interact as much as you can.
Yeah. So it's just as important to reply to comments and things as to post on your own.
Yes, that's the most important thing. Yes.
No, very interesting. Michael says, in answer to my question about algorithms, never during an interview. A few times had to know about graphs at work. Crikey.
Ooh.
Yeah. Abdul says, hey, Node.js at Scrimba. It's coming. Hopefully this year or early next year, we will have Node.js. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Joseph asks, do you have any experience of HTML emails?
No, what's that?
Oh, I do. They're a pain. If you imagine styling a website and then imagine that you have to use only inline CSS, that's basically HTML emails. Yeah, it's a nightmare. If you can avoid it, do. Avreen, any tips for the beginners?
Beginners of what? I guess web development
I
beginners.
guess web development, yeah.
Maybe try to learn daily, try to code daily. At least time doesn't matter at all. Just try to write code daily. Doesn't matter you are writing code for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 hour. You need to be consistent in the beginning if you really want to learn something. So being consistent is the most important tip I can give you. So yes, try to write code daily and try to create projects in order to improve your skills.
Yeah, perfect tips. Abdul says it's not available for the back end, meaning Node.js at Scrimba. Not yet, but we're building it. Yes. Oops. Will there be? Oh, whoops. Will there be Laravel coming up as well? Maybe. No immediate plans, but maybe in the end. And Shriram says, love from India. Woo, yeah. Oh, interesting. Do you know how to do website SEO?
I think I have shared a fully fledged thread on this improving SEO of your website. It's all about using all the semantic HTML elements. Don't just use the div all along. Try to use headers, footers, articles, and section tags as well. And try to add all text on your images. So these are some tips you can improve your website SEO. Make sure to check my thread on Twitter. I have posted this kind of thread, if I'm not mistaken.
Perfect. Yeah, that is very good advice. Always try to use semantic HTML because it's good for accessibility, but it's also good for your SEO. So yeah, do so. Rafi says, as a designer/artist, I'm used to others in my field posting on Instagram. Is Twitter for developers like Instagram is for artists or designers? From what I've seen, yeah. What do you reckon, Pratham?
I can say you can post any kind of content on any social media platform, so it won't matter. But Instagram is all about sharing images, and Twitter is all about sharing micro blogs. So yes, I guess Twitter, you can share more written content on Twitter and more artistic, as you mentioned, and images on Instagram.
Yeah, good tips. Yeah. Is PHP an outdated framework? Should we need to learn it? Or is React enough? What's your experience of that been?
I have no experience of using PHP, but I guess comparing React with PHP is not a great thing to do, because I guess PHP is for backend and React is for front end.
I think with PHP, you might find it in jobs in job ads in your area, in which case I guess you got to learn it. But ideally not. Yeah.
Not sure PHP is outdated or not, but many companies are still using it, if I'm not wrong here.
Yeah. Abdul says, I love Per Haldborgen. That's our CEO. I'm sure he'll be very glad to hear this. Oh, Rajan, what to do if I can't do intermediate challenges from Front-End Mentor? Well, I would recommend, because I have to, but I also would anyway, even if I didn't have to, going to Scrimba and checking out this course, the Responsive Web Design Bootcamp. This will give you the skills you need to tackle projects like that. And Kevin is going to be releasing another course with us in October. So look out for that. Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely. Deepak asks, which is more important, writing code daily on paper or practicing on VS Code? Yeah. So how important have your handwritten notes been for your learning?
I guess writing some kind of notes, not exact code, but some kind of concepts and notes on paper is a good thing. But I guess if you want to practice your coding skills, then definitely a VS Code or a editor, writing code on editor, so that you can also visualize the output and compile your code. So writing code on paper daily is not a good thing. But if you want to write some important concept, then you should definitely consider writing code on paper.
Yeah, great stuff. Would you recommend, ask Shriram, any hobbies to develop along with coding? So I think that's hobbies outside of coding, which can help you with coding.
Okay, so talking about hobbies, my hobby is I love to play chess.
Oh.
It's totally so hobbies, it depends on you that what you like to do in your free time. So it's not necessary that your hobbies is related to coding and web development.
Yeah, I totally agree. My hobby is my cat. Yeah. And final question I will take from Caristo. Can you tell us the order of things we have to learn to become a full stack developer?
I guess full stack is the mixture of front end and back end. So you can start with backend, but it's difficult if you start with backend because you can't visualize thing in the beginning. So I recommend you to start with the front end development first. In order to learn front end, start with HTML, CSS, create some projects, create some landing pages, some portfolios, so that you can improve your HTML and CSS skills. Once you are good in these two things, then start learning JavaScript. JavaScript is a big thing. So try to spend like 30 or 60 days on JavaScript. Try to learn everything about, not everything, but try to learn some important concepts. For example, synchronous and asynchronous programming. Document object model is also an important thing to learn because sometimes you just need these three things in order to create website. Once you're comfortable with HTML, CSS, and JS, then start with the Git and GitHub. This is the most important concept in my opinion. Because sometimes you need to show your projects to others. Sometimes you need to deploy your websites, your code, so that it secures on some kind of version control platform. So Git and GitHub is the important thing. And after that, you can start with the backend. For example, Node.js, Express.js, databases, APIs. So these are the stuff. These are the things you need in order to become a full stack developer.
Yeah, excellent roadmap. Wow, brilliant. Thank you all in the chat for your wonderful questions. Yes, that was lovely. If you have enjoyed talking or listening to Pratham and I chatting, why not hit subscribe? And then you will be the first to know about further Ask an Expert live streams and other live streams we do. Yeah, brilliant. And to finish off, I have to tell you about Scrimba's weekly web dev challenge. Yeah. So this is a weekly challenge, although lately it's been every 2 weeks, but never mind. We'll keep the name. And this week is to create a Magic 8 ball. here is the link. Yeah. And already we have 18 submissions. So if you tweet your solution or share it on our Discord, the instructions are in here. Your solution is displayed on this website. So look at all these amazing solutions. Yes. And then we have a vote. And oh, that one doesn't have it. Okay. Then we have a vote. And the winner gets this lovely trophy and some other prizes. So that would be...
I love it. I will try it out for sure.
Yes, do so. That would be great. So solve the challenge, and then your solution will appear on here. Brilliant. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much for coming, Pratham. We're now out of time, but it has been lovely to talk to you. And
I really enjoyed this live stream. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me.
Thanks very much for the wonderful tips. And those of you who will be coming back, which I hope will be all of you, we have another live stream on Friday, which I'm trying to find in my tabs. Here it is. Got there in the end. It's Michael and I live coding our own Magic 8 Ball. So come along for that and watch our amazing coding. It's awesome. Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, and see you next time.
Bye.